Hello world, I am now 12 weeks pregnant and I am in the last week of the first trimester. So I wanted to do a first trimester recap to go over finding out and symptoms and what has helped and just all of the milestones along the way that have come along with this first trimester. So let's begin with our story. My husband and I have been together over 4 years, and right before our 1-year wedding anniversary, we decided that we wanted to start trying for a baby. And we were so surprised and so grateful that we were able to get pregnant the very first month of trying. I know so many people struggle with infertility and just have a much longer journey to becoming parents, and my heart just really goes out to all of you. So I got really into tracking my ovulation. I used just the strips. I think they were easy at home, and I had been tracking my period for years, so I had a pretty good idea of what my average cycle length was, and I used some different apps to track my cycle as well. I also consulted with my midwife and did like a preconception kind of visit to get the exact dates we should try, and just got some general preconception guidelines like taking prenatals and what to start avoiding in my diet and things like that. Okay, so the 2-week wait. Oh my gosh. I am so bad at waiting for just about anything. So I knew I needed a distraction to keep me sane during the 2 weeks between ovulation and testing for pregnancy. I definitely binged a lot of YouTube videos and browsed discussion boards and found out what other moms were going through with their symptoms. And it was just kind of comforting to not go through it alone, to have those other women going through the same thing I was going through just made me feel not so alone. I also kept a journal every day of my symptoms and my emotions and just what was going through my head during that time. And I made a video diary from ovulation all the way to finding out that I was pregnant. That video is on my channel, so I will link it if you want to check it out. All right, finding out that I was pregnant. I wanted to wait until 14 days past ovulation, but I am impatient. And we were going away on an anniversary trip for our first wedding anniversary, so I thought it would be really special if I could find out that I was pregnant on our anniversary and tell my husband while we were there. So I made the crazy decision to test at 7 days past ovulation, which is really, really early, and it was negative on 7 days and 8 days past ovulation. I was slightly disappointed by seeing those negatives, even though I knew it was really early. So I told myself I was going to wait until 11 days past ovulation to test again. But on 10 days past ovulation, I was at work and I just got this overwhelming urge to test. I just felt like God was telling me that I needed to test at that moment. So I went to the dollar store, grabbed a test, went to the bathroom at work, and to my absolute shock, it was positive. I almost didn't film it even because I was so sure that it was going to be negative. I thought it was still way too early. But I have the footage of that as well if you want to watch that video. It is in my 2-week wait video and in the finding out I am pregnant video. That one's more edited, and that's how I told my parents through that video. But I worked for a doctor's office at that time, and as soon as I found out, I was just in such shock that I just went into the doctor's office and I had the test and I was shaking and I was like, is this positive? And the doctor was like, yes, it is. And she gave me a big hug and took my picture, and she let me go home early. She was so excited. She's so sweet. So then I got home, I ran into the bathroom again and took like 3 more tests, and they were positive. So I ran out to tell my husband. So since I was in the thick of the 2-week wait during our anniversary time, I totally forgot to make him a card for our anniversary. We weren't doing gifts, but on our anniversary, he gave me this beautiful, sentimental, handwritten card, and I had nothing. I felt so bad. So how I told him was I had all of my tests in my hand. I went up to him and I said, I didn't make you a card for our anniversary, but I made you a baby. And he was just as shocked as I was that it happened so fast, and he gave me a big hug, and it was a great moment. When it came to telling my family, I was only 3 weeks and 5 days when I found out, which I know is really early, but I couldn't keep it a secret from my family and friends. I just had to shout it to the world. And they all had really cute reactions, and if you want to see the reactions of my family that we got on camera, that video is on my channel as well. So let's enter the world of symptoms. I had been symptom spotting during the 2-week wait, so I was hyper aware of every little twinge and everything that was going on in my body. But to be realistic, from the time that I found out I was pregnant until 6 weeks, I had no symptoms. And I honestly was starting to get a little worried. And my biggest fear was that I just had a missed miscarriage or something like that. So luckily I had an appointment with my midwife right after I found out that I was pregnant, and she did some blood work every other day for a few days to make sure that my HCG was rising, and that was a big relief because it was. And then right on week 6, like clockwork, my body was like, bam, you're pregnant. And I started experiencing extreme fatigue, extreme hunger, and an upset stomach. So I never really got nausea. Maybe once or twice I got that actual nauseous feeling like I was going to throw up. But for the most part, my symptoms have mainly been in the evening from like 4 p.m. onwards. I am just done. I am no good to the world anymore. And it has been just this general upset stomach feeling and extreme fatigue. I also got a heightened sense of smell early on, and to this day, I still can't smell very strong smells. A few weeks later, I think around 8 weeks, I started getting food aversions, mainly to my favorite foods, of course, which were things like onions, mushrooms, Brussels sprouts, salad, and the worst one, coffee. I can tolerate coffee now, which is great because I do still have a lot of fatigue, and that little boost of 8 ounces of coffee a day is very necessary. For quite a few weeks, if something sounded good, I had to go find it and eat it, because usually that was the only thing that sounded good that I could fathom eating at the time. Though sometimes it was frustrating because I would find something, the one thing that sounded good enough to eat, and then by the time I acquired it or prepared it and was ready to eat, it didn't sound good anymore. But some things that I was craving early on, or I guess rather tolerated early on, was watermelon, blueberries, cheese cubes. They specifically had to be cheese cubes. I couldn't do just like slices of cheese or shredded cheese or cheese sticks. It had to be the cubes. I don't know. I had a lot of apples, sometimes with peanut butter, and a lot of orange juice. Some other symptoms that I have had are that I get easily winded, and tired very easily. I try to go on walks when I have enough energy, which is rare, but I have to go super slow and I don't last as long as I normally would. I have also been having insomnia, and early on I was waking up with night sweats. I have had an achy back, which might be from laying in bed too much. I don't know if you would call this a symptom, but I started showing really early. I know it was just bloat mainly and progesterone early on, but at like 4 weeks, I looked like I was pregnant. Though I feel like I started really showing at around 9 weeks, and it has not slowed down since. Now I feel like you can definitely tell that I am pregnant and not that I just had a big meal. So what has helped with some of my symptoms, especially the upset stomach, has been taking my medicines and vitamins in the morning when I'm feeling best versus at night. It took me a long time to realize that I should do this, but when I switched it, ooh, game changer. Having smaller, frequent, snacky meals versus bigger, full meals has been great. And just keeping something on my stomach has been necessary to avoid the stomach problems. I did try the Preggy Pop Drops and the Pink Stork Nausea Sickness Sweets, and they kind of helped me a little bit. I think the Preggy Pop Drops helped a little bit more, maybe with the sour taste, but they didn't do too much for me, honestly. Maybe because I didn't have true nausea. Distracting myself by playing Nintendo Switch has also been a great technique to get through some of those upset stomach moments. And just really listening to my body, taking it easy, resting when I need to, taking lots of naps, not overexerting myself, and this might sound weird, but eating meat. I was a vegetarian before pregnancy, and I tried to continue that through the first few weeks of pregnancy, but I guess baby was just really needing meat, so I have been allowing myself to eat meat during this pregnancy. Okay, slightly different angle and lighting. It is later in the day. But onto appointments. So I had those first 3 blood tests right when I found out that I was pregnant, and that was just to measure my HCG rising, which it did. And then I had my first ultrasound at 9 weeks, and we got to see the baby's heartbeat, and our little bean is measuring right on track, and we got it confirmed that there is only 1 baby. There was a lot of joking going around my family and friends that we were having twins, which terrified me, but there's 1. So for the sex of the baby, we don't know quite yet. We are finding out in about a week, which I am so excited about. And we are having a gender reveal party. So that video will be the next one on this channel, so stay tuned for that. And the reason we are finding out so soon is because I decided to do the sneak peek Lancet at-home finger prick test. And how this works is they send you a kit in the mail and you do a little finger prick, which I will get into. And you put your drops of blood in a little vial, you send it back, and it tests for male DNA in the mom's blood. So if it detects any, then you're having a boy. If not, then you're having a girl. You have to be very sterile in this process. And let me tell you, I felt like I was scrubbing into surgery. Like, I had to sanitize every surface immaculately and wash my hands a million times, let them air dry, and just be super thorough. I am kind of worried about getting the results back and not trusting them, because if it says boy, then I'll be like, was there just DNA contamination in there somehow? Maybe a stray cat hair got in there or something from my male cats. I don't know. but we will see. It's really fun to find out regardless. Even if it's wrong, we'll find out at the 20-week anatomy scan ultrasound and confirm it. But when I was doing the test, I forgot to alcohol swab my finger, even though I had just vigorously cleaned my fingers, and I just hope that it was clean enough for the sample. And also right after the finger prick, I had a vasovagal reaction like I always do when I have any kind of little needly thing interacting with my body. And I almost passed out, which was not convenient timing because I needed to close the lid on the specimen and package it all up and do some tapping on the table to get the air bubbles out and clots and all this stuff. So I was like kind of out of it while I was doing it, but I finished it, got it sent in the mail, and the results are actually being sent to my best friend tomorrow. I just got the email, so I'm so excited. But I have to wait until the gender reveal party. I have a feeling, motherly intuition perhaps, that it's a girl, but who knows? I could be completely wrong. We will see. So we've been doing a lot of preparing, as one might think, being pregnant for the first time. The first thing my husband and I did was make a list of baby names. Or should I say, I made a list of baby names and he vetoed or okayed them. But it is so hard finding boy names for us. Girl names, easy peasy. But boy names, I don't know. I have a couple that I like, but my husband is pickier than I am, which is okay. It's just, we will have to work a little bit harder to find a name, if it is a boy. We have been reading pregnancy and parenting books, renting them from the library, which has been great. I just was reading Crib Sheet, which is an awesome data-driven book. I have been making our baby registry. I am using Baby List for that, and also binging YouTube videos of other people's registries to make sure I don't forget anything. We have been in the process of picking a place to give birth. We were kind of in between a hospital and a birthing center, but ultimately ended up going with the hospital, mostly because the birthing center wasn't covered by insurance, so it made more sense for us to go with the hospital. But I think both options are great. We have also been buying some secondhand items for baby. I'm trying not to go overboard because we are planning on having a baby shower, but there are a few things that I have found good deals on that I couldn't pass up. Mostly clothes, baby clothes, very cute baby clothes. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was dealing with bipolar 2 disorder in pregnancy. So I have bipolar 2 disorder, which means I get episodes of depression and hypomania, not full mania, just hypomania. And the very first thing that I did before we even got pregnant was consult with my midwife and psychiatrist to make sure that my medications were okay to take, and we decided that they are. But the depression aspect has been a little confusing because this time of year I start to get those symptoms, and now I don't know if it's because of the pregnancy hormones, seasonal changes to winter, not working anymore, being in bed all day and feeling lazy. Like, there's a whole variety of things it could be, and likely a combination of all of them. But it hasn't gotten too bad or anything, and luckily I am starting to get some energy back and feeling a little bit better, so that is great. Now, some things I am looking forward to in the second trimester, which starts 1 week from today for me. The number one thing I am looking forward to is getting energy back. I've been saying lately that I can't even remember what it feels like to go a whole day without getting tired anymore. I'm also looking forward to not having my upset stomach issues. Like right now, since it's later in the day, I am experiencing that, and it's not the most fun. Some other fun things will be knowing if it's a he or a she in there, though I will love the baby regardless, of course. Having a cute baby bump that looks more round basketball-like rather than like I just ate a big Thanksgiving dinner. And the thing I have been most excited for is feeling baby move around in my belly. So that's pretty much everything that's been going on the first trimester for me. I know everyone's experience is vastly different, so this is just how it's been for me, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the pregnancy. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this in the future.